What was this religion? Whether you're theist or non-theist or atheist, when you die, that's when everything becomes apparent. If you die and poof, you go like that, then that's the end of that. But if there's another reality, you wake up in the grave, that's another reality. Is there these things called angels and malaika? Are there things called heaven and hell? Is there a thing called Israfil that blows the trumpet? Is there a thing called barzakh, which is the waiting point from the time we die until whether we end up in hell or heaven? Are all these things true or not? We'll find out for sure with conviction when we die. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So we find that we attain a level of conviction when we die. Yet Imam Ali said, what did he say? If the veil of death were removed, my faith would not increase even a bit. Meaning he had already reached that highest level of faith, highest level of yaqeen, certitude. He had realized and experienced and tasted haqq in its purest form. And of course, Imam Ali being the student and the greatest student of Prophet Muhammad had experienced it. And similarly, so did the Ahlul Bayt, one after the other. This divine haqq, this divine message was passed on and inherited one after the other. And so we find, as I said, in Ashura, in the saga of Karbala, there are many things, lessons that we derive. And amongst them, as I said, is loyalty, faith, patience against struggles, whether you're thirsty or not, bravery and valor. And amongst them is something called, which we are all aware of, many of us practice, and many of us do it every single day, 5 times a day. What is it called? Salah, prayer. And you find that there's this phenomenon called salah, that do you know that every single moment, at every single second, there's someone there praying. There's someone praying in Jama'ah. The adhan is being recited every second, because the world, as we know it, has different time zones. So right now there's salah, for example, Isha in Los Angeles. We have, for example, it's Asr time or Dhuhr time in Indonesia. So every single time there's something called salah. What is this salah that we know of? We get acquainted with it, but what is it? What is the reality, and what is some of the secrets of salat? So that's what we'll discuss today, and then we'll finish the discussion. And inshallah, the next 2 or 3 nights which we are here together, there'll be some very, very important topics, such as mental illness, depression, that we find in this day and age so many people are experiencing and suffering from. And being a psychologist, I think it's appropriate to talk about that. Yeah, in case you didn't know, my profession is psychologist. During the day, I work as a psychologist. And okay, inshallah, I'll give my card. So I'll talk about mental illness. I'll talk about something very pertinent as well today, which is the greatest thing what the Prophet Muhammad was sent for, which is our conduct, our mannerism, our akhlaq, and also one day, hopefully, we'll dedicate, possibly tomorrow, on what is this Shia faith? Why is this sect Shia? What's the whole meaning behind it? Is it Islam? Is it a sect? Why? So we'll inshallah discuss that. But today we'll talk about salah. Salah, 5 times a day we pray. So something that we need to understand, and philosophers and scientists are coming to realize, that we're not just a physical body. We shouldn't just eat and drink and sleep. where we also need something else to attend to our soul and to our spirit. And scientists, we find that nowadays, even if they don't believe in God, they engage in things like yoga, they engage in things like meditation, they engage in things like prayer. Because they might not understand it, they might not find certain evidence for it, or whatever the case may be, or they just outright reject it, but they know that there's something in them that needs attending to, their spirit and their soul. So something, inshallah, that everyone can try and take out of this today is, we're not a body with a soul. We're not a body with a spirit and a ruh. We're a spirit, a ruh, with a body. Before we came out of our mother's womb, before we were in the belly, we still existed in some form. And when we die, when we go in the grave and our body decomposes, some people, they burn the ashes. Some people, Muslims, they bury them. We become dust. But something in us survives, which is called the soul. So we're not just body, we are soul. And so because of this soul that we have, we need to feed it. Just like we need to feed our body, without which we will die of starvation, for example, thirst. Like we saw in the Battle of Karbala, they were highly and severely malnutritioned. You find that in places like Africa, half the world are living under the poverty line, and a lot of them are suffering from malnutrition. But then a lot of people who have nutrition, they attend to the body, they're suffering from malnutrition of the soul and the spirit. That's why we find things like depression. That's why we find things like suicide rates being so high. That's why we find people that are not so happy. There's anxiety, there's schizophrenia, there's this and that and the other. And inshallah we'll talk about that. So we're a soul, and if, sorry, I'm a bit sick. If we understand that we're a soul with a body, then inshallah we can attend to it. And so maybe that might point us towards the direction of possibly, why is prayer so important? In the adhan, our Sunni brothers don't say it, this line, but what is a line that's not in our Sunni brothers' adhan, but it is in the Shias? No, not that one. Yes, that's the one I'm looking for. Hayya ala khayr al-amal. Hasten, come quickly to the best of deeds. So there's so much emphasis on this prayer, salah. Why? We might think, what's so important about it? It's just a series of movements. You know, some people, some of us, we just use it possibly for a stretch, or we use it because we have to, our parents force us, or we do it just to tick off that in case there's a Jannah and there's a hellfire, at least I prayed. So not many of us do it with the consciousness that it is a food for the soul, that if we don't have, we'll die of malnutrition of the soul. So salah comes from the word, who knows? Who can possibly guess? Allah? No, but we pray to Allah. Salah, the word comes from another word. What does that mean? Beautiful. We have a very intelligent sister there. Sila or tawsil, which means connection. So salah means connection. It is this wireless connection. See, wireless connection existed from the beginning of time. Wi-Fi. So salah is this wireless connection that we have with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at any given time, whether there's a signal or not. As long as you have a signal, you'll connect. And so if you realize that the connection is not there, you yourself will feel it. That possibly you're closing your eyes or you're opening your eyes, you're doing takbir, you say Allahu Akbar, you finish it, but there wasn't really a connection with God. You didn't feel no connection. So salah comes from that word connection. If there's no connection, if the signal is not strong, it's because it's not strong from within us. The signal is always strong from God. There's always, I'll get to you in 1 second, or give me 20 seconds. The signal, for example, in here there's Wi-Fi, right? And the connection's very strong. But we might not be able, even though we have the Wi-Fi password, and our Salah Wi-Fi password is 24434. 2 rakat Fajr, 4 rakat Dhuhr, 4 rakat Asr, 3 rakat Maghrib, 4 rakat Isha. So we all know that. We have the Wi-Fi password, but because of our device, our telephone, it might be faulty. We don't have that proper connection. So that signal's always strong. So Allah is always there for us. That's why He says, "Ud'uni astajib lakum." Call on me and I will answer you. So when we don't attain and achieve that connection, it means there's a problem with our device, i.e. our heart, the khushu'. Yes, sister, there was a question? And inshallah, please, try and get all your questions if you can. Anything I talked about or anything else. Monday, hopefully we'll have a Q&A session. And hopefully also tomorrow I'll see who's behaving. And also probably, because I'm not that evil, tomorrow I'll bring my CDs and inshallah I'll give everyone a CD for free. Usually I sell at $15 each, but because you've been so lovely. But if I hear some extra noises, cancelled. And bring your friends, why not? I have a lot of CDs. I've sold many of them all over the world, but inshallah, because you guys have been so generous with your time and your feedback, inshallah, I'll give you there's 2 CDs, both for Muharram, and inshallah you enjoy it. Yes, sister, there was a question. Okay, how do we know if our salah has been accepted? At the surface level, we have what's called rules. Okay, at the surface level, we have what's called the rules of salah, such as you have to do takbir, face the qibla, say it. You have to do your wudu. So at the surface level, anyone can see that your salah, inshallah, will be accepted. But in reality, salah is that connection. And the only person who knows whether it's accepted is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But also you yourself will have a good indication. Salah means connection. If you feel connected, then there's a higher probability and chance that it will be inshallah accepted. There's hadith actually, and thank you for reminding me, that hadith says if even one of your salah is truly proper and it's accepted, that will be enough for you to win Jannah. So inshallah everyone's salah, he gets connected. At the surface level, we should know the basics. For example, I shouldn't pray that way, I should pray towards Mecca. I should do wudu. I should know Fajr is 2 rakah, for example. You have a comment? Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. No comment for the first time. Oh, there he does. So as I said, we're a soul with a body, we're a spirit with a body. Salah is this food for our soul. And if we attend to it, inshallah, we'll realize why it's so important. If we establish this connection, even if it's once a week, even if it's once a day, you should do it all 5. But even if you connect it, establish this connection, you yourself will know how great you feel. No CD for some people. I already have a mental image. So we find also that it's a very, very deep and beautiful topic. Usually we only address it from that surface level, the jurisprudential level, which is very important, as I said. But salah is what's called mi'raj al-mu'min. It's the ascension to the heavens of each one of us, and we have that access to God. Who knows what the mi'raj is? Isra wal mi'raj. Sorry? So Isra and Mi'raj is the travel that Prophet Muhammad did from Masjid al-Haram, Mecca to Jerusalem. That's the horizontal travel is called Isra. Mi'raj is when he went to the skies with a thing called buraq. Some say it's like a horse, or whatever it may be. And that's where there's a Quranic verse that he attained the highest level of the heavens or proximity and closeness to Allah that in the Quran says, وَقَابَ قَوْسَيْنَ أَوْ أَدْنَى, that Prophet Muhammad came so close, like the two fingers together. So it's a metaphor, we don't know exactly what it means, some people have explanations, but the point is it's that heavenly ascension. And each one of us have that access to God, that heavenly ascension. And you yourself, if you look back and you think, whether it was this Muharram or last year, or maybe someone died and your heart was at its purest stage, or you were in need of God and your heart was desperate, then you remember how beautiful that prayer felt, that connection. So we find that our Ahlul Bayt had that connection at all times. Something I didn't mention in the discussion of wudu, that our Imams, this hadith is related about Imam Zain al-Abidin, Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein. When they would do wudu, they would turn pale. They would turn pale and they would be trembling. And the Sahaba, the companions would ask, why are you shaking? Why are you trembling? What are you afraid of? And they would answer, do you know who I'm about to approach and talk to? So inshallah, may God allow all of us, you and I, to better our prayers and feel what it is, this prayer, this connection, that if we have it, if we experience that Mi'raj even once, that we realize how beautiful it tastes. Then we realize why people wake up for Fajr so easily. We realize why people wake up before Fajr so easily. They love to. Imagine in the middle of the night, there's someone that you love and you want to meet them. And you want to meet them in the darkest of the hours when no one's around. It's just you and them. So we will understand. Inshallah, everyone establishes that connection. So brothers and sisters, another thing that we can try and take out a message from today is just one thing. If you haven't started praying, don't leave it. Even if you feel that it's automatic, it's just like a chuk, doesn't matter. Maintain and establish your prayer, and hopefully it will bring you back towards that beauty of salah. In the Quran, and as I said in the beginning, I'll get to you in 20 seconds. In the Quran, as I read in the beginning, Inna salata tanha anil fahsha'i wal munkar. Indeed, prayer will repel all bad things from you, all evil from you. So whatever is bad, for example, whether it's bad people, or whether it's lies or cheating, that salah will protect you, and your vision and your thought process will change in such a way where you will see all that. Like Sayyidah Zainab saw everything, even the murder and massacre of her family, she saw it as beauty. She said, "Ma ra'aytu illa jamila." I did not see anything but beauty. And one would stop and ask, how was the death of her brother beautiful? How was the death of her sons, Aun and Muhammad, beautiful? So inshallah, hopefully we can all try and increase our wireless connection, our signal, hopefully. The wireless connection is always there, as I said, the signal. Hopefully our devices get a bit more polished. Yes, sister? Okay. Where do you go? You go back home and chill, watch TV. If you're a great person and you do everything and you don't pray, firstly, no one can tell us who is going to heaven or hell. We don't have that authority. If we say that this person's going hell or heaven, that pretty much implies we're taking the position of God, we're doing shirk, and we're saying you're going hell or heaven. But we do know that it's haram, for example, or you should pray. And why? As I said, there are reasons. Because you're not feeding your soul, for example. You might be a good person, but you're not feeding your soul. And you yourself might not realize how much greater you can be. There's a saying, what would the fish know what is beyond the sea? So inshallah, even if you don't pray, God will, in the Quran says, every single small deed that you do, a mithqal, God will, He's just, He's beautiful, He's merciful. He will pay you back for it and reward you. But if we don't pray, we ourselves are doing dhulm on ourselves. We're doing injustice on ourselves. And we won't realize it. It's like, what's the nicest food that you like? What's your favorite food? KFC for some, what was it? Mango. Imagine someone who's never tasted mango. You'll be like, I feel so sorry for you. It is so nice. You do feel sorry for people who haven't tasted mangoes, right? So a person who prays, because if they've established that connection, they felt that connection, naturally they'll feel sorry for someone who hasn't felt it. You know how beautiful it tastes. Better than mangoes and KFC. Yes. Please keep your questions until Monday, but yes.
I was just going to say, Salah هو عمود الدين. If there's no Salah, there's no din. So, if you got Salah, where's the connection between you and Allah? So everything you do, why are you doing it for if you're not doing the main thing of the religion?
Yeah. So Salah is Amud ad-Din, it's the pillar of religion. So it's very important. And if we neglect the most important thing, it's like we have a car and we don't have petrol. What's the point? Inshallah, God will see it. Sorry? Yeah, fine. But what if there's no electricity and battery? Yeah, sure. But then what's the point of the car? It's just for show. Yeah, if the bus doesn't have a bus driver, it's pointless. So I can give you any metaphor. So just quickly, and before we go to the part where we remember one of the households of the Holy Prophet. So as I said, please, sisters, brothers, if you haven't started praying, just start. Do one prayer a day. Ideally, if you do 5, it's not going to take that much time of yours. Start off, do it like a rabbit. Do it quickly. Sure. Good on you. Yeah, good on you. Inshallah, good on you. Good on you. Yes, sister. Yeah, please. Of course, it's beautiful. And when you pray for someone else, ultimately, you're going to benefit from it yourself. Just like when we give charity to someone else. Yeah, of course, inshallah. That's a beautiful thing you do. Ask me after, please. Okay, so we find that even in the battle of Karbala, and if anyone went to Sayyid Mahdi Mudarrisi's lecture last night or 2 nights ago, he showed us that